4, 3, 2.
Welcome back, everyone, to Stories from the Unbound Shores. Where we last left off, the party had investigated what caused elemental of some type, well, a fire elemental of some type, to attack a caravan. Well, more accurately, I suppose, attack the supplies of a caravan, as it was only aggressive once it was attacked by the party. And then met a relatively wide range of characters, at least by my standards. But we're not able to determine much about the elemental's attack that I can recall. But they have talked with most of the inhabitants of the caravan, and I believe are making plans to move towards Cloudspire.
Yes.
There are likely things I'm forgetting, so there has been an extra week, and I forgot to brush up in between. So, do any of you have anything to add?
We found a tinkering. I don't want to say gnome because that feels racist, but I can't remember what she actually was.
She was a tiefling.
It was a tiefling. That
And
was
Discovery.
what I was leaning toward.
Yeah. Oop. Oop. Oop.
Hello, us.
The representation of the wagon caravans for this week.
It's beautiful. I love the dapper horses.
Yeah. Those are our camels.
They're very dapper.
It's also worth mentioning that as we're going to a large city, and I do not remotely have the time to try and make something like that in Tailspire, we're using one of my old incarnate maps to give you an idea of what it is meant to look like. And you'll get a better idea of what I want it to look like as a whole. I can build on a grand scale much more quickly with something like this.
There you go. Which was pre-programmed with an inset image. It's been a while since I've gotten to use this program. Tried to keep everything uniform rather than be flipping my players back and forth. But sometimes you just need something bigger than you can easily do in Tailspire.
Indeed.
Alright, so, what happens, Mr. DM?
Well, that's my question to you. Is there anyone left in the caravan that you guys wish to speak to? Anything left you want to do there, or are you wanting to roll immediately towards Cloudspire?
Well, we had been in the midst of investigating, trying to determine the source of the possibly not fire elementals. And, we'd found some little bits of evidence here and there. I don't know that we had managed to combine our findings and determine if were we just going to take the long rest, Melisari?
I think so. I think I was totally expended.
Remember that we had searched around, we'd found the scorched rocks. There was no signs of any conjuration magic that might have summoned them. We had the box that we had given back to Discovery that was like a a fidget box. Just had a bunch of levers and things on it and no obvious magic. And you didn't identify, so we know that there wasn't in Nostal's magic aura either.
Yep. But I feel like I could get it open. And I have to determine if that's something I want to try to do.
Well, Discovery has it currently, so you'll have to get it back from her somehow then.
Yeah, I know. Making friends and shit.
I know that, Roland had, expressed interest in meeting that orc.
Ah, yes, this rings bells.
So probably he's got some rations and shit on him, and all of their food just burned up. So I think he'll try to be cash and ask if the guy's eaten dinner, yet, since sunrise is probably fast approaching, and we should sleep the day away.
Yeah, it would be relatively close. I believe, at least if I remember correctly. So, yeah, you can do that. So, are you trying to be... Well, let me phrase this. Is Roland being subtle, or does Roland think he's being subtle and being about as obvious as a brick?
The phrase is brick to the face. He does have +1 in charisma. He's not suffering that necessarily, and he has shown that he has experience opening people up to manipulations, like earlier when he was offering more healing in order to get information out of them. So he's not...
Very smooth indeed.
Huh?
Very smooth indeed.
Yes. So he's not... He may not be the smoothest person in the world, but he's not uncouth either. I would say that he would probably approach the orc who's... let's see if I put it in my notes, but I closed the program, so I can't just go check the name of that token.
Let me see if I have one in my notes too.
Right. I will check the program. This will go open it up until they... And some of you guys are apart from them, so I have names to work with.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. No, he doesn't.
Orgnar.
Orgnar? That sounds right. Yeah, thank you.
It was the security one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yep, all of the above is correct.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would say that Roland would move over to the group that Orgnar is part of, and with like rations or whatever he was planning to eat that night, that before going to sleep, in hand, and simply say, I notice that your supplies that you are taking in the caravan have been damaged, and I was concerned that you would not have anything to eat before we sleep for the day. I wanted to offer you some of mine.
Well, I certainly can't turn down free food, now can I?
I have learned over many years that it comes infrequently enough, and the goodwill is usually enough to satiate. So please, share my rations with me. You can call me Roland. What can I call you?
Orgnar.
Pleasure
You're
to...
certainly different from the rest that I've met.
I assume you mean the rest of Drow that you have met?
Drow, but just pretty much any travelers that I stumble across. Most are not as giving.
Well, I think it is a particular failing of society. I do not blame the individual for being unwilling to part with kindness, but I think it would be good if more people were.
Well, it could certainly be nice, but there are inherent dangers in that.
I suppose it is the knowledge that my goddess protects me, that allows me to feel comfort in approaching people such as yourself and offering freely of what I have.
And I'm not sure I caught it earlier, but what goddess is that? I mean, wasn't the one I would have expected, but I didn't quite catch the name.
Illustrae is the goddess to whom I offer my prayers and my service. She is actually, if you follow the cosmology, the daughter of Luz, who has decided to rail against her mother's designs for the Drow and try to offer us, as a group, a path back to the surface, a way to coexist more peacefully with the other people like yourself who live up here. So, you're correct. I do not follow the same goddess that the Drow do, though not all Drow follow Luz.
And, well, I'm not much of one for religion, and I tend to leave the matter of deities and gods to clerics and others who may care. But I am certainly glad that you have helped us and, made your own way.
I'll check my cantrips here. Yes. I believe that orcs don't have dark vision, and the sun hasn't risen
Orcs,
yet.
half-orcs do. The only ones in the player's handbook that don't are humans, dragonborn, and halflings.
That's so weird. Alright then, never mind. Well, I can, summon some mugs of water using Mage Hand to, show off that he is a cleric, saying, I do not fault anyone outside of the clergy for not wanting to get involved, per se. But the gods do have a habit of answering the prayers of those who believe. They answered mine today.
I'll just kind of raise an eyebrow at that.
A, invisible hand will just hold a mug of clean water up to him. Please. You must be thirsty after fighting a fire.
He'll take it somewhat cautiously.
What do you do for the wagons?
I deal with security. It's my job to try and keep everyone in one piece. When I failed that rather spectacularly today.
I do not think anyone is dead.
Yes, but that is not because of my efforts.
I think that it was very brilliant of you to easily accept the help of those traveling past in order to protect the people you are charged with.
Still, I don't know if I'll be employed much longer.
I think that they would be mistaken to remove you from your post. But in any event, let us enjoy the food while it is... He kind of looks down at the packaged, non-perishable rations. He says, it's still cold.
Well, no worries there. I rather like the taste.
Really?
Saucy.
He's going to begin opening and laying out the different foods, saying, I always preferred what we could make on our way out of the Underdark once we had to rely on ourselves to cook, rather than the priestesses of Love to provide what meager rations there were. These kind of remind me of that time. I would not say that I hate it, but I find to say that I like it a difficult thing.
Well, for me, keeps things simple. And I've gotten used to them from a, long history of these being what's on hand.
Have you been guarding caravans like this for a very long time?
Guard duty, work as a soldier. Anything that lets me swing my sword arm.
Saucy.
Fucking peanut gallery.
I'm not actually here.
Mm-hmm. Sure you're not.
I'm probably out of earshot. Purposefully out of earshot because I see what's happening.
We're having a picnic.
I can see what's happening. And they don't have a clue.
Oh my goodness.
Carry on.
More
Hey,
with
not
the
wrong.
Disney songs.
Is our trio gonna be down to 2? I appreciate that it fits. Anyway, keep going. Don't let me interrupt.
Too late.
Shh, it's fine.
Anyway.
So he's swinging his sword arm.
Yeah, he's definitely... I think Roland would let him tell stories of, or encourage him, rather, to tell stories of jobs that he felt like he did a good job at. Try and let him take his own mind off of this fire here while the rest of the caravan gets themselves sorted out.
Well, at your prompting, he'll tell a story or two.
Yeah.
Though I don't have them.
No,
But then he'll ask you. So, from what I can see, I'm the only one to have gotten some of your rations this evening. What has me singled out?
he's gonna, look around suddenly, to see that, nobody else has taken any rations.
Well, let me, as the DM, clarify. Have you just offered them to him? Or
Yes.
Have you offered
No.
Okay.
He's mocking surprise.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm on the right page here.
Yeah. Oh, well, it just seemed, after we had interviewed some of the Caravaniers to try and understand how this had happened, and gotten what information we could, it seemed to me that you could use some cheering. For what it's worth, I don't think you're going to lose your job, but I could tell that it weighed heavily on you, and so I wanted to offer support. Is that alright?
Sure. I don't see why not.
You feel better now, no?
I do. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I think that protecting the lives of others is very difficult and weighs very heavily on people. Ever since I took up the call of my lady Distray, I have felt this burden myself. Having to concern myself that someone is making a dangerous decision, or even something so simple as moving too far away for me to hear them just in case. Anyway, I think that it is not unrelated to the burden you feel, so I thought that perhaps I was the right person to comfort you.
He kind of raises an eyebrow at that choice of words. Doesn't say anything. Gotta let you either imply more heavily or leave it as you wish.
It should be a long day, I think. And after that, a ride to the city. Have you been to Cloudspire before? I assume you're from this area.
I... Yeah, kind of from all over, but yes, I've been to Cloudspire before.
What kind of a place is it?
A big one for starters. Hope you're fond of stairs.
You kind of see him, like, one of his hands just sort of, like, slides down his leg and starts massaging his kneecap. He's like, yes, stairs. It shouldn't be a problem.
Old man moment.
He's only, like, 550 years old.
Yeah, not a day over 20.
Yeah, doesn't look a day over, like, 40. My only experience of large cities really is Arcosia, actually. I teleported here from Elysium. And it was the first time I saw anything larger than a village in the woods.
Doing some of the fancy traveling, I see.
It was rather unexpected, I think. I spent the last many years protecting a small group of drow who had escaped from North before I was approached by some adventurers to deal with a problem they were having. As it turned out, this problem was a human that I had known a long time ago. And so I agreed to help because I thought maybe I could get through to this man. And I think that is the case. We were able to solve the problem, and I think that he is at rest now. But now I am here, far from there, seeking out a soldier. I could not have predicted that my life would take this turn, not that Illustrae would call to me to grant me the powers that she has, or that I would find it in myself to leave Elysium to find one man. I could not have predicted these decisions that I myself am making. But that is what you would say, the nature of adventure, no?
Suppose so.
And on such adventure, you meet lots of people from lots of places. All over, you might say.
Indeed. If you don't mind my asking, how was an old man, at least I'm guessing he was an old man by that point, a problem?
He was not an old man. He was undead.
Ugh.
It was very sad. He had been a good friend for the short time I knew him.
Hello?
Hello?
You cut off.
And
He
Discord
had been-
pooped.
Oh, last thing I heard was, I think.
Yes, and then we heard he had been, and then you cut off.
Yeah. He had been a good friend in the short time that I knew him long ago. And so when I heard about his more recent predicament, it seemed the right thing to do to try to help him. I think it was.
Yeah. Hopefully he wasn't. I'm kind of at a loss for words here. I've dealt with some of those in the past, but ugh.
He had lost himself for a time. He had made choices that were unbecoming of the man he had been. But through the actions of my friends and I, he found his way back. Found what he had lost, or thought lost. And I think that now he is at peace. And that is inspiring to me. Sad still, but inspiring.
Wait, so he was still, like, thinking?
He was not a zombie. He was not a typical, if there is such a thing, undead. Something intelligent and powerful. Very, very dangerous. The group told me that they had fought him on several occasions and destroyed him. And yet he reappeared, reformed, came back. He was unkillable until we had helped him find himself. He had to choose to move on. Have you heard of an undead called the Death Knight? It's not a common knowledge.
No. Skeletons, zombies, ghouls, that's about where my knowledge ends.
This is the kind of creature that can command those things, as well as magic and immortality.
So, he's now going to just have numerous questions relating to how you kill something that's immortal. That would very much be in his interest.
I think that he would spend a little time explaining the story and the knowledge that his goddess gave him on these things, so that they could actually finally defeat Atlas. Though I think he'll keep the stories as anonymous as possible. And
Alright.
I think there had been some funny moments in there where certain traps went off or things like that. I think he would embellish those to make it seem like a more comical adventure leading up to defeating this creature.
There's certainly one where you're missed over a pit trap and the skeleton has its one job. Throw the lever.
So the pit trap opens and no one falls down.
That was successful, but
Yeah, it might have been, but still.
That's right. We had, oh, that's right. We summarized the return and the defeat of Atlas. We didn't actually play it out. I remember that now.
It had, unfortunate timing.
Yes. Anyway. You'll probably relate the story of Eskel just because he's probably heard it at least. And we don't have another story that I can really tell.
Alright.
Just something to make it more relatable and fun as opposed to just
We put him in a bubble and talked to him a lot.
Oh yeah, there was that. But that was very necessary.
I enjoyed it.
Hmm.
Well, so I know the player. Well, at least there have been some implications by the player here, but none specifically made by the character yet. Does Roland intend to make those?
You gotta establish a working relationship before you can move things along. You know, you can't move too quickly. Anyway.
Indeed. I'm just making sure I understand where things are heading.
I think that it would be reasonable to let Roland check some charisma and see if there's any return interest.
Alright. Well, as you have hit on some things that were of particular interest to him, you may roll persuasion with advantage if for whenever that proposition is made.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much more time on the scene. I think that we've gotten what we want out of it. So, persuasion with advantage is a 22.
Alright, well, I will say this, that is a success. What his response is, well, I can't say I'm not interested, but I feel we may be lacking in privacy here. However, if you would meet me in Cloudspire, I would certainly take you up on the offer.
I was about to say I could help with that, and then I remembered I'd have to be present.
That would be fine. We're all friends here, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just
Very,
read a
very
book.
close friends. I think that he would be very okay with that response, and you know, as they finish the rations for the evening, he would you know, stand and reach for Orgnar's hand, squeezing it as he gave it, and just say, "I would like that very much. I think we would have some time there."
Excellent. With that, he'll. Do you have anything I'd write with? Just make sure you don't forget the name of the inn.
He will quickly reach into his bag and pull out a piece of parchment and a piece of charcoal.
And he'll scribble down the name of an inn where he's intending to stay once they're in the city.
And Roland will take it back and carefully fold it into quarters so that it doesn't get smudged before placing it into one of his belt pouches. I will see you there.
See you there.
Thank you for sharing this meal with me.
It was a pleasure.
I think that he'll just smile very happily before drifting back away from Orgnar and going to find his party.
So, which one of you starts badgering him for details?
I see.
I mean, just to set where we are, I've probably reconvened with the people that we've been talking with from our caravan. Probably not really chatting much, just kind of enjoying not being on fire.
I think that he'll wander over that way and set himself down. He just seems to be very pleased about something. And sort of to you, but mostly to himself, he seems to be saying, Instray has blessed me tonight.
So it was good conversation then.
Yes.
She's smirking at her journal.
He seems to stare kind of up toward the stars, and nod to himself and say, yes, it was a good conversation. I've got a date.
I think she may actually look at you with that one and say, what's her tone? Good for you. Kind of genuine, but also there's a little something behind it.
Should I roll insight?
Sure. Would I roll against it?
If you're trying to conceal it, I would think deception.
Yeah. Oh, I really need to go find my dice.
Hmm.
I have to remember how to roll dice on D&D Beyond.
On D&D Beyond, you should just click the number next to deception.
Okay. Oh.
What you got?
Well, I'm struggling first off.
Struggling with
Just
pushing.
brought up the skill.
Hmm. No, are there boxes around your numbers where it's in the skill thing where it says whatever your plus is inside a box?
I do not see a box.
Hold on. I'm gonna put an image in the chat. Does your character sheet not look something like this over on the left side?
I mean, it has the stuff, but I don't see boxes around my skills.
So it doesn't look like mine.
Not precisely, no.
Hmm. Are you looking on a phone? You're looking on your PC, right?
Wait, I think it's just the whatchamacallit. There we go. For some reason on my compute. Wow.
Nice. That's an intimidation check, though.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, it's the same either way, but
You get it too.
wow, I actually did also get a 2.
Okay. Well,
I was just meaning like the plus is the same, but
nothing. On insight, Roland got a 17.
yeah, I was like, any chance you rolled a 1?
Even if he had, he still would have had an 8.
I know. I guess it's kind of like a touch of longing.
It's longing,
Little bit
but
of
is it like
sadness.
envy?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's going to let the silence rest for a moment as he kind of thinks about your words and their tone. And then he'll kind of lean in a little closer so that he's not just shouting your business at other people. In a low tone, hopefully that just you can hear, he would say. You have left someone in your past.
she had gone back to her journal, and she kind of stills at the question.
You don't have to say, but I do know that feeling. I have left people in the past, almost never by choice, and always painfully. I can keep things to myself if you do not wish to see this. I am sorry to have paraded it around for you. And he'll, lean back away to his original position so as to, let you know that he really does not expect you to say anything you're not comfortable saying.
She had looked at him while he was speaking. Seems to be considering, and finally looks away again as she asks, "Was it ever your fault?"
You see him close his eyes for a few seconds, and then he'll say, I think they were. Though, logic would tell me that at least one was not. It still feels like it is. He chose loath over freedom, and I could not change his mind. So I had to choose to leave him. And that was hard. And I blamed myself. Not doing more for him, for not staying with him for a long time. But it was always his choice.
The struggle with free will. Everyone else has to have it too.
It is true. Anyway, thank you.
For what?
Talking to me. For letting me indulge in this and being curious. These things were always secret and often dangerous in the Underdark. Curiosity by others was never kind or playful. It was always a threat. Anything that might get in the way of doing Lord's bidding or following the orders of the priestesses was reported, punished. Very often, relationships such as mine would be seen as a distraction, as a means for folly or for failing love. It's refreshing, nice, to have someone ask, as you did, purely for curiosity, interest, politeness, friendship. It is unusual for me. So thank you.
She looks down. Thinks for a minute and then just says, I'm glad you were able to get out of that environment.
I wish I could have brought more with me. My work is not done, and I will return to that place. But not as a servant, not of Loth at least. And I think that would be very vindicating. I look forward to it at the same time that I dread it.
Sometimes you need to leave in order to make things right in the end.
Sometimes you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. There's a little bit of a knowing look in his eyes and a hook of a smile to his mouth as he says it.
A charitable way of viewing it.
I think that we all have our burdens, and some of them can be shared. Some of them cannot. The trick is identifying which ones can.
If we have campfires, she's just kind of completely abandoned her journal in favor of just staring into the fire.
Yes, I imagine there are fires.
Yeah, there would be.
I saved a piece of cheese from the meal I shared with Ragnar. Did you eat? It's only one piece, but you can have it if you haven't.
Out of character. A new definition for sloppy leftovers.
Terrible. You're a terrible person. How dare you sully my generous gift like this? It was good cheese.
She starts to speak, then seems to change her mind, and instead holds her hand out for the cheese, and says, a little extra snack never hurt anyone.
You will place the small chunk of a cheese wedge into your hand. Say, that one was good. Salty in a good way. I should check on Aurelian. I imagine he's sat nearby somewhere, though they've sort of been just having their private conversation there.
You're having your private conversation over someone who's just sat in the middle of you.
Yeah, there we go.
Have you left anyone behind, Aurelian?
We're just leaning across in front of him, between him and the fire, and like whispering at each other. Like he totally can't hear us.
Look, if Baldur's Gate has taught me anything, if you're talking to a party member, no one can hear you.
It's ridiculous.
True. But I think the party members can hear each other.
They seem to be able to sometimes. I just make my party members watch me kiss my girlfriend every time.
Oh god.
It's not my fault they're standing there. They could walk away.
Yeah, if and when I progress Astarion, I am making it private. Y'all don't need to be part of that.
But we're right over here.
Nope.
We're 5 feet away. There's not even a campfire between us.
Nope. Anyways. Do I know what kind of cheese it is? I mean, it's probably the same as whatever's in my rations.
You better not be asking me. He's the one that had cheese. That's on him.
Burgerost.
It's so weird, though, that on one computer I have the boxes to make rolls, and on the other computer I don't.
That is weird.
I also don't have, like, the little dice button at the bottom to select dice individually.
It could be a browser setting. Although, I don't know, that'd be weird. I turn off the, if I turn off the graphics accelerator in the browser, I can still roll dice, they just are really choppy and low quality when I roll them.
Weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Terrible.
conversing with Julian.
Yeah. Oh, already on?
Oh wait, can I amend a previous statement?
Probably.
When I had said sometimes you need to leave in order to make things right later, she would add quietly, or at least that's my hope.
Fair. His response will stay the same.
Okay.
His response having been, sometimes you need to help yourself before you can help another.
Yeah.
I am told that the city that we are headed to is got a lot of stairs. I could hear my niece screaming at the news. By the end, do you?
Am I still in earshot? How close were you, Aurelion?
How close am I? How close am I to?
To me in camp. Like, did you come in and plop yourself next to me, or are you kind of somewhere else in this little group, or made friends in a new group entirely?
Yeah, sorry, the image on screen is more representative. Just the fact that these are all the people who are potentially around, and we are in our little wagon circle.
Or is that?
I imagine I'd sit with the people I know.
Alright, yeah, so he's nearby, and Roland just is telling this to him in his normal speaking voice.
No, sorry, snorts at the stairs.
Anyway.
But also says, "Oh goody." Very sarcastically.
I was told that there had been quite a lot of stairs in that, what was it, the Dwarven city, right? The one inside the mountain? So, this would be the kind of thing that you are familiar with, no? Aurelion?
Dwarven City.
Yeah. Yes.
Mistal.
Familiar with a Dwarven City.
Oh shit. I didn't understand the statement. What about a dwarven city?
And that he's familiar with a dwarven city
Oh. Yeah.
because he was stuck in one
Yeah.
for what he considers too long a time.
Indeed. I actually want to dig into that, but I realized that my food got delivered an hour ago, so I'm worried that it might not still be on my doorstep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, give me a second. Alright, sorry, I'm back.
Do you have food?
Yes, some kind soul at least is inside the door, so it was not stolen.
So kind.
Yes. Alright, so, right. He is familiar with a dwarven city, and he got stuck inside it. And so, to that, Roland would say, yes, I believe that is the one to which I refer. The one that, you know, I was told had a lot of stairs in it.
Oh, yeah.
We are headed somewhere with more stairs, so hopefully that is alright.
No, nothing to be done about it now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I zoned out.
Stairs.
Stairs. Okay, we're
Stairs.
still on stairs.
Yeah, well, I had to get food.
Oh, can I history check to know things about Cloudspire?
Yes.
Wow, D&D Beyond hates me. 14.
What is it you're wanting to know? Just stuff in general, or what?
Architecture. Like city planning, like those bridges.
Oh.
The bridges in particular.
Right, so I found push to talk. So you can see the the incarnate map from the stream, right?
Yes.
Alright, so you want to know about the bridges?
So I can tell Roland there's a lot of bridges too.
Yes. So yeah, you get a general idea of, like, you know generally how the city's put together, that it's, built into and onto the particularly tall rock formations in the area, with bridges, usually rope bridges, connecting the top of one to another. So at the very least, once you're at the top of the stairs, you usually don't have to go back down until you're ready to leave.
Lots of bridges as well.
Bridges?
The spires is rather literal. Or, I guess the name itself is rather literal.
There are bridges connecting spires?
Pretty much.
That is something I cannot wait to see. But, hold on. Did we ever, discuss, why you were stuck in that dwarven city already on?
Possibly.
I think that we discussed that you could not afford to leave.
That was it. Yes. That's.
But you had also mentioned that you were traveling with other people.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, that's how I got there.
Did they leave?
I would assume so. So I haven't seen them in 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a big city. It's possible, I suppose, that we just kept missing each other, but I find that unlikely.
So,
You
the
were in
school?
Mistal for 9 years?
Sorry?
You were in Mistal for 9 years?
Thereabouts.
How come your traveling group did not stay together?
I don't know. I haven't seen them to ask them.
Did they?
It could have just been that they forgot me. Maybe.
That sounds terrible. Why?
I'm sure it's a perfectly innocent explanation.
What would you say to them if we found them? If you found them?
I will... that they can stop worrying. I found them. They must be worried out of their minds, wondering where I am. That is... I don't know if Aurelian actually believes this stuff himself, or if he's just saying, ooh, that's a 6 on deception.
Let's check insight here. That is an 11 on insight.
6 for me. I matched.
So
Who
you
wins on a match?
You win.
Aurelian, I am so sorry to hear that this has happened. You must be worried about them. Greatly.
I'm sure they're fine together, wherever they are. Together. What about me?
Well,
I
screw
think
them.
I think Roland's gonna just like step up and set himself down next to Roland or next to Aurelian and like throw an arm around his shoulders, if he can. If he's allowed to.
I like our two different comforting methods.
Yeah. Does Aurelion let Roland do that?
Yeah, it's awkward. He looks like he really does not understand what's going on. You understand that Aurelion is in deep denial about all this.
Yeah. It is, It is a terrible feeling.
Loss.
What?
I said tonight has really been all about loss. Except Roland's good start to the night.
We had to start on a high note so that we could just fall to the depths of hell.
I have nothing to do with this. This is all your guys' fault.
It's all my fault. My 2 in deception. Mind you, I would have had to roll an 18, but...
We could have all kept pretending everything was just fine. But Roland had to fuck it all up by seeing through people. With his +7 in insight.
Like, if you've ever heard Aurelion, like, perform, you would realize that he's somewhat technically proficient. This is what I'm going with. But that he has no, like... He doesn't have any, like... No, not like a rhythm. It's... You know, some people are just musical. They just love music. They're really into it. They're very good at it.
Yeah.
And they just master it. Whereas Aurelion learned the technical side of playing music.
So
but that's it.
There's no soul to it.
There's no soul to what he does. It's like almost, when he plays well, it's a very just mechanical process.
Mm.
You know?
He's not feeling the music he's playing. He just...
Yeah, that's not him.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard him, like, any poem or anything that he's written himself has always been very just like has to fit into these because he's learned, like, this is how you write a poem and all this. It's like there's no real
All
connection
very
to
mechanical.
it. Very mechanical, very just like by the books.
No artistry to it.
Nope. He tries, but that's not his thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any hobbies other than the arts, Aurelion?
It's not really a hobby, that's my job.
Okay. Than any hobbies. Period.
I have tried carving.
Tried what?
Like whittling?
Yeah,
Oh, right.
I'm going to reach into a pouch and pull out this small wooden statue.
Ooh. What is it of?
You cannot tell.
Oh, I love ducks. I think this is a very good statue of one.
That's a dolphin.
Oh, of course it is. I see it now. It's not a beak. It is a nose. Yes, that is a very good dolphin. He's gonna lean back to Melisara and say, "What is a dolphin?"
It's a marine sea creature. Yes, marine sea creature. Redundant. It's a similar to a fish, but not a fish. The tail goes up and down as opposed to side, and it breathes air instead of.
It's a very bad fish. There's no air in the ocean.
Well, that's why it's got a hole in its head. To allow it to breathe when it surfaces.
Yeah, before he was still, like, looking at the statue but leaned toward you, so, like, listening to you. Now he, like, turns toward you. A hole in its head?
Someone described a dolphin to you without you ever actually seeing one. It would sound like some sort of nightmare creature.
Fucking
Right.
insane.
It's just a zombie fish. That's all it is. Someone puts a hole in a fish, reattach limbs incorrectly.
It created a fish, I twisted its tail sideways, and then I put a hole in its head somewhere, I don't know,
And
behind
took
its
away
eye.
the gills.
Yeah, no gills.
Way to gills so it couldn't breathe, and
Yep.
then attached a hole to its respiratory system
Yep.
instead.
Yeah, this
That
is
goes
how
out the top
a
of the
mermaid
head.
was created. They just took a fish and a person, they stuck them together. It's
It
a
looks
buff.
like it's smiling, but behind that smile is just evil.
The
I
statue.
mean, that part's true.
It's a very good statue. I love it. Can I have one?
Okay, I'll make you one.
Thank you. He quickly describes
so
this
much
really
more
detailed
words.
bird in like all these beautiful colors and everything, and like these patterns on its feathers. I would love to have a statue of one of those.
Melisari is doing her
Yeah,
best.
that's gonna come in brown.
That's fine.
What?
there's a pause. And he goes, "That's fine."
Melisari is probably attempting to hide a smirk. Probably not succeeding.
Roll that deception. You gotta roll the deception.
Definitely not succeeding.
18.
There may have even been a little snort with that smirk. Rolled a nat 1.
Is it insight or is it perception? So
Probably insight. I would say insight. But
I mean,
if she's laughing, you could do
literally
insight
can't.
perception, yeah.
she attempts to turn it into a cough. Deception part 2. 7.
7.
It does not work well.
Amazing.
I don't know if there is talking happening, but not much talking is happening. Coming through, rather.
Nope. I said amazing. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I was hearing, like, crackling. I don't know who it was.
I think it's my ceiling. The people upstairs are being very stompy right now.
Well, try saying something, Thomas.
okay.
Oh, you're very crackly.
Oh god, it got worse.
Oh dear.
It is a 3mm jack that just so when I pull it out, I'll put it back in again. It does crackle.
Gotcha.
That is unfortunate.
I do have a USB microphone, that is just a USB microphone, but it's just a microphone. It's not a headset.
Not a headset. Yeah. I mean, I use a separate USB microphone, and then a separate 3.5mm jack headset, and that's how I do things.
Yeah,
Anyway,
could potentially do that, but I'm not sure how it would work. I'd have to test it out.
yeah. So we're discussing this disappearance of your group and your artistic endeavors since then. And
I know Tharian's being a horrible asshole tonight.
Oh no, you're just letting them see that you're the horrible asshole tonight.
I mean, I don't really have any way of hiding it
+7
other than
insight.
just not opening my mouth.
Just imagining Roll to me like, perhaps for the rest of the evening, you could contribute. Yes. He's not saying that, but that's playing in my head now. So, yeah, Aurelion has said he'll make a bird for Roland in brown, because that's the only color it comes in.
What kind of bird is that?
He was describing like a very colorful, very detailed, patterned bird that I don't think anyone saw. But I imagine that it would have lived on Elysium before the Dark took it.
So not a bird that either of us has ever seen, likely.
Very likely.
Okay.
Like, he'd probably just say it. It's one of the first surface creatures that I saw after I escaped.
She's giving you kind of a funny look. But says, "It sounds beautiful." I mean, probably.
I imagine he described it well.
Yeah, see if that helps.
Definitely not trying to change the subject at all, or redirect things away from her.
This,
The reason she doesn't have many friends, okay?
This group that you were with before, Aurelion, they were entertainers, I believe you told us, correct?
Yep.
Did they have a name, a title that they went by?
God, I don't know if I came up with a...
I mean, you can just hand wave one and
Insert
say...
name here.
Yeah, there you go. And they traveled around, you know, well beyond Elysium, I suspect, yes. They had traveled there to entertain in Mount Mistal, and they had come from elsewhere.
Yeah, we traveled all over the place.
When you were with them, had they ever come through this area?
Where are we now? We're
We're in the south.
in the south.
Yes. We are
No, we
heading
never got
eastwardly.
far.
No? Elysium's all the way up in the top left of the map, and where we are is at the very, very bottom, and we're heading from the middle to the right. We're kind of going to the opposite corner of the map from where Mount Mistal is.
Yeah, I didn't quite cut down here.
It may yet be beneficial to inquire after them. Would be interested on your behalf to know what they are thinking, doing what was done. But in the event, you say you've never been to this area, so this should be an interesting new experience for both you and I, Aurelian.
Yeah.
We should probably turn in for the day. It was quite an exciting night. Before there are any further faux pas, he adds very to the side.
Actually, saying that? Or just giving the look?
I think he says it very under his breath, but turned toward you so that Aurelian hopefully doesn't notice. But he doesn't seem to be, like, upset necessarily. He looks like he's teasing you.
She clears her throat. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Are we,
taking shifts?
well, I was gonna say inclined to stay out in the open, or would you prefer I, cast us a hut?
There are a lot of people in this current camp that we do not know. We should probably check in with our employer and find out if they want a hut. I feel like we can trust them, but they may not.
I will nod. And look at you and see if you are going to talk to them.
Yeah, there's just like this pause, you nod, and then you don't move. And he goes, right. He turns and goes.
I mean, she, depending on how long the pause is, she would also have turned. Do we want to roll to see which of us gives
Yeah.
in first?
Roll a d20.
There.
Roll initiative.
I got a 2.
God. I also got 2.
Roll again!
Are we just going straight D20 though?
Yeah, I'm just going straight
Okay.
d20. I got a 7.
19.
Alright, it looks like you're going.
I'm going.
There's just like this extra little pause where they're just staring at each other, seeing who's gonna move first. And finally you're like, and go.
Yeah. Fine. Well, I nod again. I not making any more faux pas.
Dead set on it this time. Immediate faux pas.
So I approach.
Bobbert.
I guess. Well, but it was kind of the Dragonborn who were more our employers, right?
No, the Dragonborn are passengers.
Well, yeah, I know.
Our employer is the caravan master.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like a weird thing of, like, the caravanners are technically our employers, but theoretically they're also being charged with keeping the passengers safe, which would mean... Whatever, I'll check with Bobbert.
Immediate faux pas. You start checking with the Dragonborn, and Bobbert's just like, what are you doing?
Oh, I go talk to Bobbert first.
You just don't like him
I
because his name is Bobbert.
The main question. No. I had thoughts and reasons.
You can always talk to Rallick instead. I think he's a tiefling. Yes, he is.
Looks like it. But I will talk to Bobbert
Okay.
and repeat my query as to whether we are content to sleep in tents or under the stars, or if we would prefer a hut again. Oh dear God, he's terrifying.
I think you mean he's got the best beard ever.
He looks like
Let's go.
yeah, but like cowboy version.
Yeah.
But anyway. So what does Bobbert think?
Derek?
Sorry, having a slight technical difficulty. I mean, just whatever's more comfortable for you. I mean, I don't see a reason that you would need it, but so I mean, just if you don't have a tent, you might want to use that. If you do, I mean, just overall, do whatever feels best for you, so long as you can still keep an eye out in case something comes along.
I just remembered the sun issue. So, tiny hut it is.
Yep. It does suck during the day.
So I will, how to say what I'm saying. Oh, I actually wasn't all that out of spell slots. I did a lot of Ray of Frost in that one.
They were weak to ice, I think, so...
Yeah. I'm trying to find... There it is. How many people can I have with me? I forget. 9 creatures. I think it includes me as the 9?
Yes.
Okay. The wording is kind of weird. But anyway, I can house 8 people. There are how many in our party?
3. 2
Well,
besides you.
Offering up to the rest of our caravan too.
I think there were 4 Dragonborn? 8 Dragonborn?
There are 4 Dragonborn and 4 not Dragonborn.
Sounds like we are going to have to share your tent again, Aurelian.
I mean, just because I'm offering doesn't mean everyone's gonna take it up, or I could only offer 6 spaces. Sorry, I had a lot of text messages coming in that I needed to at least look at. was I?
Figuring out how many spaces you're offering.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I guess after he says whatever's more comfortable to you, I will come back over. Oh my god, my face is terrifying in that picture. I mean, like, it's not great regardless, but like,
Look, I just took the straight on shots as I could. It's not my fault you have scary eyes.
It's not just the
Eyes
eyes,
of a serial
though.
killer.
It's not just the eyes, though, it's everything.
I mean, if you had put a mustache on like I did, you could have hid that space between your nose and mouth.
No. And I've got a weird mouth pucker. And the shading around my jawline is poop. Like, you took this picture with terrible lighting.
I just didn't change the lighting at all. It was sun came up. I was just looking. I wanted it to just be clear. Look at there. It looks fine now.
Oh my. What looks
Sounds
fine now? I
like
don't
that would be Thomas receiving text messages.
Okay.
Anyway. So I'll come back to you guys and
Yes.
say that you're leaving it to us and say we should probably offer a dome if we would like to avoid the sun. That is.
We definitely want to avoid the sun during the day in the desert.
Yes.
And
And more so than with a tent.
a tent can accomplish it. We can also accomplish it with a tiny hut, but if we are not welcome, then we have Aurelian's tent.
Why would you not be welcome?
Well, there are only so many spaces, and if they're being sent to the caravan, then Aurelian and I will sleep in the tent.
But I came here to discuss whether they ought to be, or whether we would prefer to keep it ourselves, or only have half their group, or...
I mean, if Boba has said to do it is most comfortable for us, then clearly he has a plan of his own. It does not rely on us. However, there is the side to consider, which is that we are hired here to make this trip go as smoothly as possible for our employer, and if we want to make ourselves look good, offering them space in the hut is probably a good thing.
But everyone, or just the group, the caravanners, the passengers, 6 people, who cares which ones?
I'm guessing that the
Everyone.
caravaneers will all stay together with each other, and if they have their own tent, then they will be the happier. So, you know, passengers, offer it to the 4 Dragonborn.
Okay. I offer it to the 4 Dragonborn.
I forgot I was pushed to talk.
Yeah, I was about to remind you.
Thank you. They will take you up on the offer after having experienced its much superior climate control last time.
It's true. It is pretty awesome. I am pretty awesome.
Very useful in a desert.
So there we go. We have 7 of us in a hut.
Very good. We sleep the day away.
Well, trance the day away.
We do that thing.
And I'm stuck in here until those Dragonborn wake up.
Uh,
Unless I
alright.
want to offer a rude awakening.
So you trance the morning away, and you get the benefits of a long rest.
Woo! Everybody long rest. Long rest. Do it. Yay! I did so much healing though.
Portents. I need to roll portents.
Roll your portents.
And do you guys do anything in particular to pass the time while you are waiting for the rest of the camp to get moving?
I am reading a worn book of poetry.
I think Roland is writing a worn book of poetry.
Now,
What?
for both of you, is it actually a book of poetry, or is it you have like one of those fake book covers on the outside?
Mine is an actual book of poetry.
Yeah, same. But my poetry might be risque.
Oh goodness. Does it feature a certain half-orc security guard?
I can not answer that in good conscience.
So that's a yes.
Alright, well, if there is nothing else, I believe you guys will head to Cloudspire.
Huzzah!
Oh, and something I meant to chime in about earlier, but didn't want to interrupt the flow. As part of your history check for the city of Cloudspire, Kate, you'll know that. Oh, Melsar will know that one of its most strangest features is that it has ridiculously consistent weather.
Interesting.
Like always cloudy, rains every 11 days. Levels of consistent.
Interesting.
Cloudy.
They have a weather control machine. They're gonna use it to take over the world.
Cloudy Spire.
Bloody.
So, that said, when you guys get to the base of, like, while you're able to kind of see the height of Cloudspire from a distance, as you get close, when you look up, you'll mostly have the views blocked out by clouds, as some of them are particularly low.
As I said, very literal. How do the wagons... What do we do with the wagons?
There will be a place for like wagons and caravans and things at the base, and then kind of like in the base of one of the pillars. But if you want access to the city proper, that's going to involve some level of stairs. Unless you want to try and get a palanquin.
Yeah, no. Is it generally safe to leave them down here? No one fucks with them?
Like it's like a stable, but for wagons. Like it's basically a garage. Like its purpose is to store these things.
Okay.
Like there's a bit of a fee, but
Yeah,
that's not your problem.
this is a fair point. Do we have inn arrangements already made? I will ask Bobbert.
We do, but usually guards have some of their own places they like to hit when they hit cities, so you're on your own for lodging.
Do you have recommendations?
Depends on what you're looking for. Fun, business, something seedy.
I I look back and forth between, or I look, at Roland and Aurelion in turn.
Like, you
Something
went
seedy
over...
it is.
Wow. But, like, are we involved in that conversation, or are we, like, a little bit away and you're looking back at us, like, trying to decide something? You want us involved in it? What is it?
I mean, I kind of figured we were all, more or less together, but...
as you look back, you're gonna just see Roland, like, look to the side, like, don't look at me. And after a second, he'll finally look back, see you're still looking at him, and he'll go, I have plans.
The buzzing is interesting.
Yeah.
There is a bee loose in the Discord call.
Yes, it seems so. But, yeah, he's just gonna say he has plans and look very slightly sheepish. Like, the sheepishness is more like, I thought you would have expected that.
Yeah, she kind of makes a little face. If you know what I mean with that, like a...
Like a, huh, oh, right.
Well, it was kind of a, oh, I didn't expect it to be that far that fast. A spend the night kind of date, okay.
I mean, he's not saying anything here. This isn't... He doesn't need his business in Bobbert's face.
His business is his business. Aurelion, any preferences for where we might want to stay?
Oh, I'm muted. Forget. Hold on a second. Oh, I forgot to plug this in. That's why I keep turning off. That's better. I'm okay.
I'm glad you're okay, but where would you like to stay?
Ask me if I have preference. That was the question? If I have a preference?
Yes. What kind of place we might like to stay?
The options had been given by Bobbert. You could choose seedy.
Fun, business, or seedy.
Well, that wasn't like necessarily a list full of options. You had kind of trailed off. So if there's
I know.
something in particular you're looking to try and do, he can point you in the right direction.
Actually, oh, I have money now.
Oh yeah, we will need to get money from Roland too.
Yeah, you see, like, Aurelion will be like, yeah, you give him the options, and he's like, oh well, and he looks down into like the money pouch, and he's like, confused looking, and says like, what the hell did this come from? Oh yeah, I have money. It's like, let's go someplace
Most
nice.
unusual.
Okay, well, somewhere.
All right, then he'll recommend a inn that's relatively close to the Temple of Bahamut, which is no. So on the main central plateau, your inn would be at the far left side of it,
Okay.
with the Temple of Bahamut being the thing that's a larger building on its own little spire to the left of that.
Unenhance! Unenhance!
Sorry. Oh, what is that? Oh, it's our dark vision. Funny.
Okay, so by the big dragon statue?
No, the dragon statue is a thing all by itself. So on the main part of the city, with the majority of the houses got like the three pillars holding it up,
Gotcha.
you'd be in the far left side of that thing.
Okay.
And then, like, on the plateau to the left of that is where the temple is.
Gotcha. Okay, well then I will say we will make our accommodations there.
This looks like
And look at
a
Roland.
fucking nightmare.
And look at Roland to make sure that he at least processed where we were going.
Yes, he seems to take note of the area around, and then, you know, I don't know if I'm supposed to view this as a large city, or like with lots of people in it, or if it is just like this little smattering of buildings, so there really aren't that many people here. Like,
It is meant to be large, just I can't, like on Incarnate, you can't really make the buildings any smaller or the rocks much bigger without everything just getting too,
Unwieldy.
like, not be on the screen.
yeah, that's fine. That's what I wanted to make sure of. So it is supposed to be a pretty densely packed city with lots of people, like large crowds of people going to market and stuff like that.
Like, anything on the top layer isn't as dense, because they do take a somewhat dwarven approach as well, of having space inside the rocks to, avoid the heat of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
there's
there's
still...
a lot going on down in the actual spires.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Then yeah, he'll, look around, seem to be getting taking in the landmarks around that spot, and nod to you and say, I think I will go take in the sights. We are arriving at night, I don't know how long it took us to get here from the campsite.
You would be arriving at early evening. Because just with how the sleep patterns work, you'd still be leaving slightly in the day as it starts turning tonight.
Okay, so we were
And
pretty
you
close.
were not- Yeah, you were very close.
Okay. So yeah.
First off, I'm going to give you a knowing look, and then become more serious and say, in case we need to find you, where will you be staying tonight?
He's going to open a pouch on his belt, one of the more forward ones, and he's going to take out a folded piece of paper, and he's going to unfold it. It's been folded in fourths, and he's going to read it over a couple of times and nod like he's committing it to memory better. And he's going to fold it back up, and he's going to hand you the piece of paper.
She's going to look at the piece of paper. Basically do the same thing of looking it over, memorizing it, and then hand it back. Fold it up and hand it back unless you've already walked away.
I mean, he's gonna be there. Like, if you forget later, that's gonna be a problem for you. He's expecting you to keep it.
She can't forget, though.
Yeah, she can't forget it.
Oh.
My memory is
Eidetic.
yeah. Back to a month anyway.
I don't remember if he knew that.
I don't know if he did, but
Then you hand it back to him, and he just takes it very uncertainly. You can hold on to it. I have it memorized now.
So do I. She's just, unconcerned.
Very well.
And for good measure, we'll recall something from early in their travels, some obscure little thing, and relate it.
And relate it? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, just to
Basically
prove that
I
she...
trusted my memory.
Yeah. He's going to say, very, very good. Actually, and he's going to pull a string on his belt, and he's going to hold out the bag of holding. Since you two are together and may want to buy things, this contains our money and any important items we have. This way also, since I will be alone, I cannot become separated from it unexpectedly.
She'll take it, but say, "Are you sure you have enough for anything you might need?"
He'll, scratch his chin a little, and he'll reach out, undo the knot at the top, and pull out several platinum pieces, 5 of them. That's, I think, enough, according to what you told me last time.
Do I think that's enough, DM?
Unless he plans to have one very wild night.
Okay. I mean,
it's 50 gold.
I know.
Okay.
He could want to have a very wild night.
Wildly inexpensive, I am expecting. Some pleasures.
She once again gives you a knowing look. She seems very amused by all this. The look of longing from the other night has been successfully buried.
You can tell that he's looking for it, but not seeing it. He will simply tip his head to you one more time before pocketing the 5 platinum pieces and strolling away into the crowds.
She will watch him for a moment and then turn to Aurelion and say, "Shall we secure our lodgings?"
That seems like a good idea.
I did make sure that Roland knew where we were staying, right?
That was what
Or
this
where we
conversation
were
was, wasn't it?
Well, it was making sure I knew where he was.
It would have started with me knowing where you were.
Yeah. Okay. So we will go in and make our reservations.
Yep. They will actually have some representatives of the different inns in town in kind of the area at the base of the spire, so that if you will need to know whether or not the places have room before heading up, there are options.
That's good.
So you can actually make them at the base before heading up.
Gotcha. I do want to kind of subtly question which ones might be friendly toward a drow. Just in case. I'm sure his night will go wonderfully, but just in case. But I want to do this without Roland
With
noticing.
the recent passers through, the only place that generally none of them. With the recent passer through, the temple itself would be fairly safe, but he'll have some explaining to do. This is a city that reveals Bahamut, so there won't be immediate action, but there will certainly be questioning.
Because I intend when we, like, actually go to the place telling whatever, proprietor, if a drow shows up and describe him, he's with us. Like, please do not be concerned.
All right.
Give them a nice hard look. Not threatening, but just, making sure that it won't be a problem.
Well, I suppose saying none of the places is incorrect. There would likely be one or two in the Undercity that wouldn't care, but they are not places that Roland would likely wish to visit.
Yeah.
Or be able to visit, for that matter.
Well, all the same, I want to confirm that the proprietor will be willing.
For something that unroutine, you'll have to go to the inn itself to sort that out.
I know. That's what I mean. Like, I've been told down the base this information that it's gonna be iffy. Or I have sussed out this information at the base that it's going to be iffy, and except for those places, whatever. But when we actually get to the inn, I want to talk to the people there about this.
All right. We can do that. Is there anything you're willing to do before that, or are you heading straight to the inn? Because if there's any daytime attractions you're wanting to hit, you're probably going to want to hit those first.
Well, I mean, it's close to evening anyway, right?
Yes, which is exactly my point. If you go to the inn first, it's going to be pretty much most things that are normally open in daytime hours are going to be closed.
I think I'm still inclined to talk to them first. If Aurelian wants to go sightsee, that's fine, and I'll potentially try to catch up with him after, but...
That would be a thing, yeah. Because he hasn't been in a different city in a while.
Yeah, that's fine. I do not mind addressing the inn people myself. With my absolute awful charisma.
Alright. Do we want to start there, or since everyone is splitting off, who wants to start?
No preferences?
I'd say let you two start. Give Aurelian a chance to do stuff.
Aurelian's just going to explore. He's just wandering around the city.
Alright, is there any type of thing you're looking
keep
for?
forgetting I can't scroll on Twitch.
No, I'm sorry. Anyway, I put in the image that you sent me. Is that correct to do?
Oh, yeah, that's actually what Aurelian looks like.
Alright.
Quite the smile.
Oh, yes.
Very charismatic.
Very true.
Except he isn't.
So, what are you looking for? Music? Food?
Anything. He's just seeing what's there.
Alright, do you ask for directions, or you just wander?
No, just wandering. Just
All right, then do me a favor and roll a d20 to figure out where you end up.
He has abandoned you.
That's fine.
So the city is still on a regular day-night
that's a one.
cycle, huh?
It's not necessarily on a regular
And-
day-night cycle, but some things are open during the day, some things are open at night.
Hmm.
And there are likely still some types of things, like, there's still likely different types of shops for the different times of day.
Hmm.
Like, you still have, like, each kind, like, of place, but the specific places will differ,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And did you roll that early on? Because I didn't hear the result.
Oh, yeah, got a one.
Got a 1.
Yeah.
All right. So you perhaps follow the wrong person, ask the wrong question, say something that means something that you didn't realize it did. Either way, you're gonna find yourself in the Undercity by the end of this.
Oh no.
And
And I
that seems like the
assume-
only fitting result for a 1.
I assume that this is way too big a city for our telepathic circlets to be much good.
You'll have to remind me of the distance they cover.
I believe it's 1,000 feet.
Then, when you want to use them, like, you want to use it right now?
I mean, I might check in on occasion, but probably not.
Well, whenever you want to use it throughout his wandering, we're just gonna roll 50-50 to see if he's in range or not.
Gotcha.
Because, like, parts of it will be in range, parts of it won't be. And it'll be 50-50 for each of you.
Great. Okay. Well, anyway.
Oh, like 50% chance that he's in range of you, 50% chance he's in range of Roland, to be a little more clear.
So much fun.
Roland's not wearing his headband.
That is unsurprising.
Figure I'll let you know that right now. He has it
Don't
with
need
him.
distractions.
He has it with him. It's just not on.
Gonna set that cell phone to mute.
Yeah.
Alright, so upon finding yourself, and like it'll probably take, like, from the roll, it takes you a little bit to realize the section of the city you're in. What do you do upon finding yourself surrounded by the criminal element?
I want to be clear that I have the bag of holding. By the way.
I'm alone, right?
Yep, all on your lonesome.
Yup. Unless you made some new friends.
Undercity would have some sort of tavern.
Yeah, they'll have their own mix of shops and things. There'll certainly be a tavern.
That's where I'm going. I'm going to find a
All
tavern.
right. You'll go in. It'll be a somewhat darkly lit place. Most people are keeping to themselves, but you'll see what appears to be some sort of fighting ring in the back, though you can't make out what exactly for from the front.
Hmm. I'm going to buy myself a drink.
Alright, so you go up and ask for a drink. Do you ask for something specific, or do you just ask for a drink in general?
I suppose in general, just ale, whatever.
Alright, then he'll ask, you a new fish?
I didn't catch that.
You a new fish?
Blub blub, motherfucker.
Yeah, see, I thought he said, you have a new fish.
Alright, well, let me say it one time without the accent. Are you a new fish? Well, without the R.
I suppose so.
What outfit are you with? I'll say as he starts going to, as he, like, gets out, bottle to, well, not really a bottle, but, starts pouring you an ale in some fashion.
Please tell me Aurelion gets himself hired to a crew by the end of this.
God.
I cannot remember. Did we give ourselves a name?
No. We've never given our group a name.
Could always go with your traveling performer's name.
I used to be.
Oh? Alright. What variety of trouble are you bringing me then?
Aurelian's just stares at this, totally nonplussed.
You gonna answer, or you just gonna sit there and stare?
He's just looking like he's just got kind of like a confused look on his face, like he does not understand what's being said to him.
I'm glad you explained that, because nonplussed is actually a contronym, so it's hard to know what you meant without more context.
Is it?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It means both surprised and also completely unfazed.
Oh, does it? Oh, if only someone here didn't like contronyms and was every time was exposed to one.
Yeah, I hate them.
They are, in fact, the worst.
Contronyms suck.
Yeah, who? Oh, it's. If only I knew someone who doesn't like contronyms.
You're a bitch.
And if only I hadn't used a contronym on purpose.
You're a bitch.
Oh my god.
Anyways.
Complete bewilderment.
Where was I?
You trying to get him to respond, but he's looking confused
Gonna
at you.
answer.
Look, nobody leaves a crew without there being some sort of bad blood. What were you with?
I give the name of the traveling troop.
He looks at you. Now he's the one that's rather confused. How did you get here?
Caravan?
You alright?
This is so terrible. I love it.
You seem to not understand what's going on.
Is Aurelian about to get mugged? Or join a crew?
I thought there was more coming from that. I thought he was going to say something else.
Nope, he was just trying to see if you are as confused as he is now. What is it
See
you
what?
What is it you want? Aside from this, as he hands you the drink, that'll be 2 silver.
I... I will pull out a gold. So,
Yes, you pull out a gold and that's what you pay him with?
yeah.
Alright, he takes the gold. Does not offer change.
His ass kicked by Aurelion.
I'll be put my hand out and just like, very like, you're kind of closing. Just.
What? You want me to shake it?
I'll figure out
You
now.
said yourself, you're not in a crew and don't have guild affiliation. You can't do anything down here.
Just tell him, yeah, you
Oh,
want him to
no.
shake your hand and then pull him over the bar.
Oh no.
I'm going to knock back the drink.
Oh no.
I like this. Go for it.
Oh no.
And I want to try and just
Alright.
see if I can crush the cup, whatever it was in
Alright.
one hand.
I need a Constitution saving throw.
Gave you the shitty
That's
beer.
That's a 23 con save.
Alright. Well, you managed not to vomit it back up, as the entire thing tastes like piss. Probably not actually. That's probably not what it actually is, but just tastes awful. And so, give me a strength check to try and crush the thing.
Is it your strength, or can I throw? Yeah. Climbing, jumping, swimming, it's athletics.
Sure, we can
Or-
do athletics, because this is like the only strength skill, so I don't see why not.
That is a 26.
Alright. You managed to crush it. You can't really do it in one hand, but between the two, you'll be able to make it no longer functional, at the very least. And the barkeep will just kind of nod. You looking for work?
No, I'm looking for 8 silver.
Yeah, but there's one of you and 3 of them. And kind of nod to people around the bar.
You cut out.
I am just checking something.
Gotcha.
Mage hand. What can you do, mage hand? Spells. I don't use mage hand, so I don't know the details of it offhand. Mage hand. Come on. No, that won't really help with anything. So, what do these other 3 guys look like? How are they looking at all this?
One's a somewhat obvious bouncer, pretty muscular, has a large cudgel. The other 2 seem to be like they might be patrons, but they do seem to be eyeing you. But there's not much you can tell from them from their current positions.
Seedy indeed.
It's 8 p.m.
So if you're looking to start something, then we should probably save that for next week.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we probably should.
Yeah.
Alright. So then next week we will pick up with some initiative in a barroom brawl.
Yay!
Next time on Adventures from the Unbound Shores. Stories from the Unbound Shores.
Roland's off having himself an encounter, and Melisari's doing city stuff, and
Aurelian's off having himself an
of their
encounter.
own.
Aurelian's off
Everyone's having encounters of their own variety. Mine's the only one vaguely civil, and it's only vaguely. Oh wait, no, sorry, Roland.
I was gonna say, how is mine not civil? What are you implying?
Yours is extra civil. Cordial, even.
Alright. I'm going to end the stream.